Ladies, gentlemen, and deities of all ages, welcome back to another video. By popular demand, I am going to talk about all the rings in the game. I saw a lot of you comment about how important rings are to you guys and that you wanted to hear some of my opinions on them, so I'm just going to go down the list. I'm not going to talk about all of them. I spent about the last 45 minutes hashing out which ones are good and which one are bad, and I just filtered out the bad ones. Just as a caveat, because I filtered out the quote-unquote bad ones, doesn't mean they have zero use. They're pretty niche, you can make them work, but I went by consistency and just the top tier ones. So I pretty much deleted half, and I'm keeping half because I don't want this video to be 2 hours long. I'm going to try and make this nice and condensed and concise. If you like what I do and like what I say, please make sure to leave a like and a comment. It really does help boost my algorithm, and I am trying to make a little comeback of sorts. So if you want to help me out, please do. That would be very nice. And if you have any other video ideas that you think you would like to hear me discuss or want my opinion on, feel free to leave a comment below. This video came from a comment. I watch them all, I read them all, and sometimes I listen to you guys. So here we go. Let's start. The first ring on my list is the Prophet ring. Now, this one was one that I originally was not going to put on, but one of my good friends, Roltaire, who has played the hell out of demonic mode, heavily advocated for this one, where healing an ally gives them 25 accuracy for 1 turn. Now, I'm not someone who really relies on accuracy and hit rates. I use mostly direct damage abilities, but in demonic, where enemies sort of have higher dodge, higher speed stats, and your accuracy might not be as good, this can be a big help to make sure you land those hits that you need to kill an enemy. Oftentimes, failing a chapter will depend on killing an enemy, and you will need the Prophet ring to do that. Now, like a lot of the rings that you might see on this list, healing is mana dependent, and if you don't have mana, you can't heal, and that makes this ring useless. So some of it can be a little bit mana dependent and not quite entirely consistent. Let's just keep that in mind. The next ring is the Attuned ring. Now, all of you guys know that I love this ring. I run this on my Saxon. Starting with 250 mana is just so good. Sometimes it will last you all the way until the end of the chapter, and sometimes you run out, and not having that restore can be annoying, but having that big boon at the start is massive. And with the right builds, again, Saxon late game, in my Ascendant build, loves this ring and allows him to solo and not really need to depend on any boost. So definitely a top tier ring to me. The next one, the Kindling ring here, is also really good. Spending mana on abilities grants 1 power for this chapter. In demonic, you're basically going to be spamming your abilities the entire chapter, and so this will let you rack up sometimes 5, 6, 7 power up until the end of the chapter, and do not sleep on this. After that is the Cleave ring. Single target damage spells deal 50% of their damage to the target and adjacent enemies, and this one, by virtue alone of you starting out with Lunar Reeve Arthur, this ring will be extremely powerful. It's basically free, and it deals splash damage to adjacent enemies. It doesn't hold you back, it doesn't have a specific condition, all it needs is a couple enemies next to each other and you are going to get free extra guaranteed damage. It's great, it's fantastic. The next one after that is the Farseer ring, and this one doubles the effect of distance and size ability upgrades. So this specifically works when you have that little arrow in your ability upgrades that increases distance by 1. This doubles that. So if you increase the distance by 1, now it's 2. If you if you have 2 of those upgrades, now it's 4. And especially for your refreshers who do have 2 of those distance upgrades, this ring alone lets you have 1 to 5 range refreshes on your units. It's pretty damn good, extremely clutch, one of the best rings in the game. After that, we're skipping over the Depth ring, which a couple of you may not be happy about, but we're going to the Grip ring. Grip ring ignores half of weapon weight, and for some of those like really heavy weapons, I'm looking at this Y-hander, I'm looking at some of your axes, speed is king in strategy RPGs, and getting a guaranteed half of your weight or decreasing that speed that is weighing you down is also sometimes the difference between doubling, not doubling, and being doubled. And again, the best defense is not getting hit twice. Just keep that in mind. Grip ring is amazing. Hallowed ring is a very good defensive ring. Waiting grants +5 defense and fortitude until the start of the next turn. And in the early game where you're really going to need those 5 defense and fortitude, it goes a long way. Putting this on a tank or a juggernaut or a dreadnought will take you very far. Even until the end game, the 5 defense and fortitude can matter on your tanky units. After that is the Mystic ring. This one is just a no-brainer. 25% increased mastery scaling for all scaling abilities. It's just extra damage, extra effect. This is an excellent ring. Every single run, you should make this ring. It's really good, and it's also not that expensive. A sapphire, an amethyst, and a diamond, those are pretty easy to get early on in the game. After that, I have the Actually, no, I want to talk about the Lava ring. in conjunction with the Mystic Ring, because the Lava Ring is about the same thing. It's an extra 20%. Mystic and Lava Rings are both good. It's further down on the list, but I wanted to include them in the same point because they do basically the same thing. Now let's talk about the Victorious Ring. Now this one is more of an honorable mentions, very situational one, because a lot of time on Demonic, you're not really killing enemies, but if you're in a pinch, you have a unit that needs to be healed or 2 units that need to be healed, but your damage dealer can kill an enemy, this will come in handy. Also, if you've got sort of those enemy phase tank builds that I've been advertising very heavily on my channel, shoutouts to that, you can go and look at my videos, this will be very good because it's just a free 20% of your max HP restore. It's guaranteed healing, guaranteed extra tankiness, extra HP. Really, really nice, consistent ring when it does proc. After Victorious, let's talk about the Inferno and Aqua rings. Now, any fire magic or water magic abilities, and this includes ice magic as well, will gain 40% effect. This is huge. I actually missed this in my Zuhair video, where his Absolute Zero actually got a 40% boost from the Aqua Ring. These rings are crazy. If you have fire abilities or water abilities that you use very regularly, these will just make these insane. So again, situational, honorable mention, but good ring all around and very consistent. Charged ring, 5 extra mana on turn start. This is beautiful. Mana is key, and just having more mana is really good, especially on a unit like Arthur, who already has extra mana regen. You'll just make him go through the roof in terms of the mana he gets. Chosen ring is a very good defensive ring, cannot take more than 40% HP in one hit. You can put this on a healer, on one of your refreshers, on units that have paper-thin defenses or fortitude that you don't really want to die, and they will guaranteed survive at least 3 hits. At least. Or 2 hits, and the third one will kill, but you get what I'm saying. Now let's jump ahead a little bit all the way down to the Brightening Ring. The Brightening Ring is pretty good. Again, another honorable mention because it's dependent, like we said for the Prophet Ring, on healing. And you might not always have that, but 4 might is pretty good. Now, Companion Ring, pet commands use 10 less mana. This is amazing, especially on Tamers who already do very, very high damage and have very, very high mastery. Allowing them to spam their abilities is just really good. Can't recommend the Companion Ring any more than I already do. Having it on Zenil with her monkey for the extra gold, excellent combination. Indomitable Ring is another one, very much like the Hallowed Ring. This is just flat defense and fortitude boost and losing speed and dexterity. On your tanks, honestly, you probably don't really care about speed and dexterity. But the defense and fortitude, like if you combine this with the Hallowed Ring early game, that's plus 9 defense and fortitude. That's a pretty good boost. And again, a fairly cheap one to make. 2 amethyst and 1, is this opal? Onyx? I forget. Onyx, probably. Not many other rings that are good need these, so make it. Competitor Ring, another really good one. Kills grant plus 1 power, stacking for the chapter. Every kill you get is 1 more power, and sometimes you're killing 10, 15, 20 enemies with your carry, and this just snowballs very, very fast. Great ring. Hurricane Ring, I mean, do I really need to explain this? Movement plus 1. Movement is king in strategy RPGs. That's all I have to say. I don't think I need to explain it anymore. If I do, then I'll be relatively concerned. Diplomat Ring, defeating a foe grants plus 25 dodge for 1 turn. This is your bread and butter ring for dodge tanks because it also stacks. So if you're killing more than 1 enemy in 1 turn, guess what? You're stacking up that dodge and your dodge tank is becoming dodgier. Those exhaust stuff that you have doesn't really matter. Diplomat Ring has that solved and it offsets it, especially for things like Nightblades. Now we go all the way down here to the Saint Ring. Now this ring, I believe, is currently bugged, and so it actually does not reduce adjacent enemies' power. You're pretty much still taking that flat damage, but this is also a very good tank ring because it's basically plus 4 to defense and fortitude, but only from enemies that attack at 1 range. So it's a little bit less consistent because it's adjacent enemies only, but it is still very good on your tanks, especially if you want like a physical up-close tank. Radiance Ring is also an excellent ring. Direct damage abilities apply 30 light blind. This is just a nice debuff. If you need to like chip away at an enemy and debuff them and not have them be able to hit or attack or you're in a pinch, it's very good. You can reduce their accuracy, you just hit them, works against bosses, works against anything. It's a pretty good ring all around. After that, we're jumping all the way down to the Archmage Ring. Gain 1 ability range to all abilities with higher than 1 base range. This is great. This ring you use on your phasers, on your rescuers, your star surgers. Any ranged ability will benefit heavily from this. All of your archers, fantastic. You just get more range. You can nuke from further away. It's really, really nice. After that, we're going to do the Air Ring. Now, the Air Ring was one that I heavily underrated up until, again, my latest Zuhair video, where I noticed really how much mastery is important in this game. You get a flat increase by 1 for every 10 current HP, so it is always there. However, the caveat is if you're damaged, you lose that. But for ranged units who are sort of nuking with skills or tanks that are not losing their HP, this is amazing. It's direct scaling, and 10 mastery is pretty significant, and with the amount of HP boosting elixirs you get in this game, this will be really good. You will be able to reach that max cap on it. Elemental Ring is another one that I have on my list, and 1 light block stack for every 5 mana spent. This is just super consistent. You're going to be spending a lot of mana. This can go on your healers, it can go on your tanks, it can even go on your offensive units. It doesn't really matter. This is just free damage mitigation. Again, very good, very consistent ring. Astral Ring is another no-brainer one. If you have a unit that is high combat, gain 5 mana after combat. Really, really useful. I pair this a lot with the Attuned Ring on my Saxon. If you guys saw that video, that's the combo. He's going to be involved in so many combats that he's just going to regenerate mana like crazy. So I would recommend it. Any unit that's seeing a lot of combat that you want more mana on, and you feel like you can slide this in, great ring. Then we're going to talk about the Advantage Ring. Ignore 1% of enemy resistance per mastery. Again, you can pile on a lot of mastery with your units, and do not underestimate ignoring 25%, 30%. Some units ignore 50% of enemy resistance. This is defense and fortitude. It can be pretty strong. You know, those units who are sort of lightish hitters that, you know, don't have that much power, but the Advantage Ring on them, if they've got high mastery, they will absolutely shred enemy defenses. And like we just said, we talked about the Air Ring. That's 10. There's a lot of nice pairings for you to make with this ring. Plague Ring is another one that I have on my list here. Taking damage reflects heavy bleed equal to 8% of max HP. Now, this one is another kind of situational one, right? It's mostly for your ritualists. I use this on my Cassandra sometimes a little bit to help guarantee that she lifesteals. But the nice thing about the Plague Ring is that heavy bleed is guaranteed damage after combat. So if you have high HP, this is allowing you to inflict up to 8 of that after battle. May not seem that much, but if you've got a high combat unit who enjoys that, this is again another consistent way of outputting damage. And last but not least, we have the Bloodied Ring. Now the Bloodied Ring adds 8% of max HP to your advanced stats. So I will go ahead and hop over to my units and show you the advanced stats are these 5 stats here at the bottom. Power, accuracy, dodge, crit, speed. And it's 8% of your HP, so to get the full 8, you need to have 100 HP. But to get the 4, you only need to reach 50 HP, and that 50 you reach pretty quickly. And do not underestimate that extra 4 speed and 4 power. The accuracy, the dodge, and the crit are nice, but the speed and the power is where this really makes a difference, especially in the early game. The Bloodied Ring is one of the best rings in the game, and the devs know it. That's why it costs 3 rubies. But it's one of those investments that I will make on every single save file because it really does elevate your best offensive unit that much. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I know you guys are probably going to be surprised to see some rings that are excluded from the ones that I just covered, but I feel pretty strongly that you can't make every ring, and I just covered about half the rings in the game, 28. I feel like there's going to be 28 that you're not going to make, and odds are, and I feel kind of good about this, but correct me if I'm wrong, that the ones that I didn't mention are ones that you're probably not going to make. But maybe I personally left a couple out just to enrage you guys and make you comment below. Who knows? We'll never find out. But yes, tell me below, argue with me on why I'm wrong, or tell me how right I am. I enjoy seeing all of the comments, and I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Again, if you like what I do, please leave a like and share and consider subscribing. But that's all for now, and I will see you guys in another video very soon. Peace.